right, how y'all doing, everybody? Uh, this is the Wood Dog, and this is my segment, Just Keeping It Real. Today is December 3rd, 2023. I'm gonna talk about three things today, and I'm gonna stick to my 30 minutes. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time, but there's three things that we need to talk about today, and we're going to talk about it. But before we get started, I want you to please take the time to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you go on YouTube and go to the search engine, just type in my channel, Just Keeping It Real, at, just keeping it real. Wood Dog 4868. Just keeping it real at Wood Dog, Wood, WOOD, DAWG 4868. And you'll pull up all my videos. You can go on the older ones, but click on the live ones because those are the ones that I've been doing this year. And you can see them in their chronological order with my banner that I don't have today that says Just Keeping It Real with the Fist. You can also find me on Facebook under my name, Frank Wood. And I want you to please take your time and look at all the videos in their entirety and look at the news articles because there's no BS on my Facebook page. And if you want to send me a friend request, please do so I can friend you for future content. All right, here we go. There's three things I'm going to talk about today. The first one is the $10 million lawsuit against Wayne County Sheriff Department. $10 million lawsuit that was filed this week against the Wayne County Sheriff Rafael Washington and the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. The second thing we're going to talk about today is something that could really save your bacon. So get an ink pen ready and write down this phone number. It's the American Water Resources Program. American Water Resources Program. Get an ink pen. I'm going to give you the number when we talk about that. The third and last thing that I'm going to talk about today is get a good lawyer. Get a good lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm going to tell you what I know about how valuable and priceless a good attorney, if you get the right attorney for your situation. And the reason why I'm going to touch on that, get a good lawyer, is because, as most of you know, I was a Wayne County Deputy Sheriff for over 30 years. Not only did I work on the street, in the county parks and the jails, but I also worked in all the courts. The civil court, the criminal court, juvenile court, friend of court. I know how this lawyer thing goes. So that's how we're going to talk about that. Now, let's just get right into the first thing we're going to talk about. And I'm just going to just keep it real because keeping it real is the only thing that I know how to do. Now, we're going to talk about the first thing, which is the $10 million lawsuit that's been filed against Wayne County and the Wayne County Sheriff Rafael Washington. This is the second multi-million-dollar lawsuit, I think, in this year. There's going to be another big lawsuit coming right behind it involving the death of Corporal Bryant Searcy from 2 years ago, who got killed in the jail. And the lawsuit that Rafael Washington was sued on first was like in the tune of $95,000 for sexual harassment. I mean, this lawsuit pales in comparison to that. But the most thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this particular lawsuit is the ducking and the dodging of the situation by the current Wayne County Sheriff Rafael Washington. He didn't want to address any issues about the death of the inmate in the jail, that where a violent inmate was put in a cell with a meek and mild inmate, and that aggressive, mentally ill inmate killed his cellmate. And it should never happen. You know, they should have been separated by race, size, mental stability, weight, and offense. You're going to put a drunk driver in a cell with a person that's mentally ill with multiple police reports. There was no checking. Whatever was done and wasn't done by officers in the sheriff's department, Sheriff Rafael Washington refuses to own it. That's what makes it so disgusting, is because he's throwing blame on everybody. He did a news conference. Like I say, go on my Facebook page and watch these interviews that Sheriff Rafael Washington did with the media, talking about if the deputy didn't do his job. Every time something goes wrong in the jail, he's blaming a supervisor, he's blaming a deputy, he's blaming the medical department, he's blaming the doctors, and he's blaming the nurses. It's his department. You can't shift blame to people who are underneath you. You have to own it, explain it, and then discuss how you're going to remedy that problem. It's just like if you have children in your home, and most of you have families or you have nieces and nephews. But let's just say if you got a mother and a father at home and their child likes to play golf. Instead of going to the golf course, he's hitting golf balls in the neighborhood. They're bouncing off of people's windshields, cracking windshields, golf balls putting dents in people's cars, and their golf balls are going through people's windows. You can't say, I didn't do it, that my son did that. No, you're the parent. You have to own it, and you have to remedy the situation, and you have to pay for the damage if necessary. But see, we have a sheriff that just wants to walk around with a Wayne County Sheriff uniform on and pass the blame on everybody in the hopes that people don't regurgitate his blunders because he's running for sheriff next year. Next year is right around the corner, Mr. Sheriff Rafael Washington, and we're going to hold you accountable for all those blunders that you've been executing on the county's taxpayer dime. But that's what he does, and I've been on him for the last year, and for good reason. And it's kind of funny how he makes it easy for me. He can't control his staff. He can't control himself. He doesn't even know how to lie correctly. His staff, they don't update each other. He's too busy trying to let everybody know who he is, but he doesn't miss sporting events. He's up here at concerts doing lip sync battles. And while there's still a full-blown murder investigation going on in his jail, there's been a $10 million lawsuit filed against him that the county is not going to be able to get out of. The only way that the county is going to get some relief from these two major deaths in the last 3 years in that Wayne County jail is through settlements. And even when you settle these cases, it's going to be in the millions of dollars. It's not his money. He's covered by governmental immunity. So it's not coming out of his pocket. So, hey, why should the taxpayers have to absorb blunders from what Sheriff Rafael Washington's not doing? And there's going to be some more lawsuits coming down the pike. And from what I hear, now they have about 40 officers in a jailer's training class supposed to be future new deputies for the sheriff's department. I guarantee you with all moral certainty, again, once they get into the department and see those working conditions, they're going to be rotating right back out the door. Then you have, and this has been ongoing for a while, because not only did it happen to me, it's happened to recent officers who have either retired or they resigned to go to another department. Sheriff Rafael Washington's Chief of Internal Affairs, Captain Reed Shackabarty, and his Sergeant Lacey Polderdyke. Now, this is what they do when officers decide that they no longer want to be with the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, especially if they go to work for another police agency. These agencies will go back to their prior agency to see what kind of officer they were and did they have any major issues that could disqualify them. They have nothing good to say about any officer that resigns or retires from the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. And I'm talking about Captain Reed Shackabarty and Lacey Polderdyke. Those two individuals are trying to hamstring every officer who leaves the department and tries to go, or they do go and work for another police department. When that new agency comes back to the sheriff's department, it's okay, he resigned from y'all or he retired from y'all. Now, if there's some pertinent information on a deputy when he left, and if he was a substandard cat, I get it, you know. But if there was nothing major or anything, why you want to make up stuff and embellish things about the officer just to try to hold him up? Now, you know what they tried to do to me, but it didn't work. And that was in another video I did in November, so you can go check those out, but it didn't work. But why they doing this, I don't know. But the sheriff could put a stop to it, because depending on what they say, you know, they can put themselves in a lawsuit situation. And depending on what they leak out of those internal affairs files that should be sealed, because the information from internal affairs files can only be revealed via a court order. Or if an officer goes to work for another agency, that's the exception with law enforcement officers, because they have to know, the new agency need to know what type of officer they're getting. I get that. But just to be releasing information that's damaging and it has nothing to do with police conduct, which is what they're doing, just mad because the person don't want to be there no more. You know, and they probably thinking that that's what the sheriff wants. Sheriff Rafael doesn't know what he wants, but he does know this. Sheriff Rafael Washington likes wearing that uniform. Now, let me tell you something about Sheriff Rafael Washington, and I've been missing this, and I'm not going to miss it today. He crows about his education, going to these online classes and stuff like that. He crows about his years of service with the Detroit Police Department before he went to the Sheriff's Department. Well, did you know that when officers are promoted to sergeant, and then the rank of lieutenant is above sergeant, so they go from sergeant to lieutenant, okay, Sheriff Rafael Washington was never civil servicely appointed to any rank that he obtained with the Detroit Police Department, meaning that he took a test like everybody else. And at the top of the people at the top of a seniority list to get promoted based on how they test and where they're scored, they get promoted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 off of this list. Okay. Rafael Washington took the sergeant's test, I don't know how many times with with the Detroit Police Department, but he could never be promoted because he never could test high enough to make sergeant. So unfortunately, they had what they call charter promotions. So after they civil servicely promoted the people who tested high on the test, they had some provision after they promoted everybody on the seniority list per their contract, they could go and grab somebody who the department wanted to be a supervisor. So that's how Rafael Washington became a sergeant with the Detroit Police Department. And then later on down the road, he's testing for lieutenant. Can't never pass the lieutenant's exam. So they promote lieutenants based on their seniority and how they test rank. And after they promoted everybody according to the contract, he was able to have interviews either with the police chief or a deputy chief to try to secure one of those charter promotions. And that's how he made the rank of lieutenant with the Detroit Police Department. So if officers are on the Detroit Police Department didn't know this, well, you know it now. But charter promotions no longer exist with any police department that I'm aware of. And I know it doesn't exist anymore with the Detroit Police Department because there's a lot of money involved when you promote people. If you remember, there about 10 years ago, there was two twins that got promoted when Ike McKinnon, I believe, was the police chief of Detroit Police. And these two chicks got in good with the chief, and they got in good with everybody, got insider information on the testing, and they both got promoted. They found out they cheated, and they both got charged with that because it's a civil service promotion, you know. And then I don't know what administration this was. I don't know if it was with the Archer administration or the Kilpatrick administration. The grapevine is saying that the current sheriff, Rafael Washington, was trying to see if he could secure an inspector position. Another want to secure another charter promotion, but I think they had enough of Rafael Washington, so he just stayed a lieutenant until Benny Napoleon became the sheriff of Wayne County, and Benny just brought that broken toy over to the sheriff's department. So that's some more stuff about Rafael Washington. And I talked to many Detroit police officers who are aware of his charter promotion. That it's a position that he never earned. They just gave it to him. Matter of fact, everything that he's gotten, it was given to him. All right. That was the number one situation. Get your ink pen ready. I want you to write this phone number down. The phone number that I want you to write down is 1-855-800-5195. 1-855-800-5195. That's the American Water Resources Program. This is a program that's sanctioned by the Detroit Water and Sewage Department. And let me tell you, it's a damn good program, because this program means that if your water or your sewer line is broken, this company will come out and repair and replace your water line or your sewer line with no cost to you. The cost for the water and sewer line protection, both of them combined, your water and your sewer line is combined, is $95 a year. Now, you might think that $95 is a lot, but if you've ever talked to somebody who had to have their water or sewer line dug up, that's at least $6,500, at least $6,500 to have your water line dug up. That would be 65. Your sewer line could be slightly more. It could be up around 7 or 8 grand, depending on how long your sewer line is and how deep it is in the ground. And the Water and Sewage Department teamed up with the American Water Resources Authority to secure that particular service, because if you live in the city of Detroit and you live in any city around Detroit or in Wayne County for that matter, we are old community. You heard about crock pipe sewer lines and stuff like that. And that stuff can get pretty costly. You can see I'm looking to the side because I have it pulled up online. You can type in American Water Resources. The phone number, once again, is 1-855-800-5195. And they also have a program for in-home plumbing program. They have water repair replacement program. They have exterior electric line protection program. That's DTE Energy, so you don't have to worry about that. They have heating and cooling system repair. You get that through your Home Protection Plus with DTE Energy, so you might not need that. But they have gas line protection. That falls under DTE Energy as well. But that water and sewer line protection. So if you live in an older community, anywhere in this Tri-County area, you might want to sign on, because there's other cities that approve the American Water Resources Program. Chicago, St. Louis, LA. I mean, it's a lot of people that use American Water Resources. And I am personally aware of 3 friends of mine that had collapsed sewer lines, and they had to dig it up, and they didn't have no type of program like this, and it cost them like 5 or 6 grand. One former co-worker of mine, his name will remain anonymous, he said he paid about 8 grand to have his whole entire sewer line. Now they'll pay for the permit. They have the licensed and insured crew to come up and dig up and replace your sewer line. And the same thing goes for your water line, because it goes like this. And you can look at it on your water and sewage bill too, to know exactly what I'm saying. A homeowner is responsible for their water line where it connects to the city water line. That line in between where the city water is and your home, your water meter, you're responsible for that. The same thing with your sewer line. Your sewer line, the homeowner is responsible for their entire length of their sewer line to the point where it connects with the city sewer. So it's good to pay that $95 a year to have them deal with it, instead of you having to deal with it at $7, $8, or $9,000, depending on how long your sewer line is. Small price to pay. All right, that's the American Water Resources program, and I'm gonna tell you, it's one of the best programs. I remember when the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, they sent everybody letters out on this situation, and it explains in detail about what's covered and what's not covered, and you just can't shake a stick at it, because if your sewer line breaks down, you're gonna wish you had it. All right, that's the second thing we're gonna talk about. Now, the last thing I'm gonna talk about is get a good lawyer for your situation. This is the wood dog, I'm telling you. And I'm not an attorney, but if you have a legal issue, like let's just say if you or one of your loved ones get charged with a criminal offense, breaking and entering, domestic violence, criminal sexual conduct, malicious destruction of private property, crimes like that, those are criminal offenses. You hire a criminal defense lawyer to handle that matter for you, because those matters are handled at the criminal court. Like drugs is included in that, assaults, larcenies, embezzlements. Those are criminal crimes. You need a lawyer that handles criminal matters for that. All right. Now, if you get charged with a civil offense, or somebody's trying to sue you, you getting sued for no proof of insurance, or you own a business and one of your employees get hurt on your business. Those are civil matters. Those are settled in the civil court, not the criminal court. You need a civil attorney to handle those matters in civil court. Lawsuits that are civil involve money. Okay, so you really can't mix the two attorneys, because the law is different. The civil law is like, it's more likely than not, and the criminal standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, like that. Like I say, I'm not an attorney, but don't have a civil attorney come and represent you or your loved one in an armed robbery case. Unless that attorney's been doing both, hey, stick with the criminal attorneys that handle the criminal stuff, and stick with the civil attorneys that handle the lawsuit stuff. I'm telling you, very few attorneys can do both, very few. And the ones that do both, they're at a premium. Now, let's say if you got issues with children, custody, those divorces, you're getting divorced, something like that. You hire a family lawyer to represent you, because family court, family law, the statutes involving that stuff is totally different than civil and criminal law. Okay? You don't have a family lawyer that deals with divorces and stuff like that to represent you in a civil lawsuit with somebody trying to sue you for running into them. You know, but if you get car insurance, your car insurance company will have a lawyer go to court and represent you because you're paying your car insurance. Now, let me bounce around just a little bit with that car insurance, and I'm going to get off of it. Have some type of car insurance if you're driving a car, because you do not understand the civil liability of riding around without car insurance. And if I think you do, because you listen to the same attorneys on television, Mike Morris, Sam Bernstein, Jim Actor, Posner, and few other Applebaum and Stone, you know, get on the phone, you know, listen, if you got car insurance, the attorneys from the law firm will work out the settlements on your vehicular damage and stuff like that. But if you're an uninsured driver out here driving around on the road and you get hit by somebody or you hit somebody, you can't run to one of these law firms and think that they're going to represent you in the lawsuit. You know why? Most of the time, the court is going to say this: you have to have car insurance yourself before you can sue somebody. You can't be going suing somebody for personal injury or involving a vehicle or something like that, and you don't have car insurance yourself. I guess some of the exceptions would be if you're on public transportation, like a bus or that Q-line train that runs up and down Woodward. You know, you're on there and somebody hit the bus, and you know that's a little different. But you can't shoot nobody unless you got car insurance yourself. You know, because if you got a good job, like a public service job, you're a cop, firefighter, or you have a payroll job, and you riding around with no car insurance, them attorneys are going to sue you and get a judgment against you, and they're going to send that court judgment to your human resources, and they're going to take that money out of your check for every 2 weeks like child support. So make sure that you hire the right lawyer for your situation. All right? That is crucial. Make sure you hire the right lawyer for your situation, because there's all types of attorneys, like I just said. Then you have probate court that handles some guardianship stuff, and probate handles some estate issues, insurance issues that involve the death of people, wills and stuff like that. So you need to hire a lawyer that knows the probate side of the fence. They have lawyers that specialize in probate court matters. So if you're getting divorced, you're going to hire a criminal lawyer to represent you in a divorce? There's only a few exceptions to that. There's only a few different lawyers that know the ins and outs of these different types of law. There's probate lawyers, there's civil lawyers, there's family court lawyers, and there's criminal lawyers. Now there's a fifth type of lawyer that I'm aware of, and there's a series on Netflix called Suits. Suits, S-U-I-T-S, Suits. It's like 8 seasons. I watched the whole thing. Corporate lawyers. Whew, Lordy. Corporate lawyers, those are the big dogs. These are the ones that deal with businesses dealing with each other, the laws of sending materials across overseas, across continent boundaries, like the companies that deliver issues of back and forth, attorneys representing other lawyers and stuff like that. Those are the big dogs. So there's a lawyer for everything. So make sure that you hire the right lawyers so you don't get jammed. All right, this is my segment, Just Keeping It Real. I'm the Wood Dog, D-A-W-G, because keeping it real is the only thing that I know how to do. And I want to thank you for listening, and make sure that you like, thumbs up, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for future content. You can also find me on Facebook under my real name, Frank Wood, because I do not hide who I am. That's why I just keep it real. And thank everybody for listening. Ciao.